Oh, friends, Buddy the dog is in rare form. I don't know what he's so excited about, but we have lots of work to do and not a lot of time to do it, you know. It said it was going to rain terrible today, and then it ended up not doing that thing. So we could have made more progress than we did, but such is life. So we're going to get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, Ross the Oliver Man. I've got I've got tons of stuff I could be fixing. I've got grass that could be mowing, hay that could be cutting, but we don't have weather forecast that looks like it's going to cooperate with most of that stuff. But what we do need to do is tackle this, because this ain't no good. I cannot fold up this disc like this, or badness will happen. I know, because it's happened before. And so what's going to have to take place, I suppose, I don't remember how I fixed it last time, but obviously I didn't fix it good enough. I think I fixed it with it on the disc, and that ain't going to fly. So my plan, I think, is going to be, we're going to take both tubes off so we can take it down and weld it. But you see, I've also had to tilt it like this in order to get it to hit the correct spot. So what I'm wondering is if I don't just weld a heavy piece under this half instead of using washers, and then that piece will help reinforce that plate. And then maybe it'll do the thing that we want it to do. I don't really understand why it's off, you know. I don't understand how it could be, what would have changed over time. The only thing could be maybe that everything got more rickety and loose or something, and I really don't know. That's kind of bizarre to me, but that's the way it's been. And yeah, see, this has been injured before. One time this came out of whack when it wasn't tilted up. It came out of whack, and this flipped over and it missed this, and that caused a lot of sadness, friends. I had to do a lot of fixing to get that straightened out. This is all cobbled up, bent. I mean, there was a lot of heating and crying to get that straightened out. So we want to avoid having that happen again. Yeah. So I need to get the impact probably and some tools and fix this. But I also want to do something else whilst I'm thinking about it. You know, because why do the thing we're supposed to do when we could procrastinate and do something else? But it might turn out to be helpful to us. So we need to get some stuff that I bought, and also the impact and all that, and possibly a hammer in order to make this happen. But you will see in just a second what I'm talking about. Remember this sad sack we started working on and never completed, and now it's all grown up in the grass. Well, today might be its lucky day, because I have some new hardware. So without breaking the bank and just unnecessarily spending a bunch of money, I decided that I didn't like some of the stuff that I had, and I was short somehow. Good question. How did I lose any? Because I don't know, I probably carried some off and then forgot about it, you know. But anyway, I didn't feel that they were, some of them aren't long enough, you know, and some of the stuff just didn't suit me. So I just went ahead and bought some new ones, and we're going to use as much new as we can. It actually turns out that some of the stuff is, what do I want to say? Well, I can't quite get that out of my brain. It was cheaper to buy a box than it was to buy pieces. So I think I bought a box of one size and then like 4 or 5 longer ones for the places where it has to go through 2 or 3 plates, you know. And then what's left to do is, the only thing I don't think we have is, I forgot to get hoses and couplers for this to replace, because the hydraulic hoses that were on it were horrendous. And we need to pick them up because they're probably laying out here in the grass, you know. Which we might go to the store after a while, because I forgot. We got to get hydraulic hoses for that, for the markers, because that was a bummer. We had markers to use, and then we never even got to use them because the hose blew after like 3 rounds, so that sucked. But I was thinking we should just buzz these in real quick, and then we got that. Also, looking at this, it answers 2 of my questions, which are, yes, those poles are different length on the smaller disc, and number B, apparently that cracking down the center is a common problem because this one's the same way. So yeah, but I figured if we could get this where this was mobile, then we could throw a few bearings in it and possibly use it if we have to. Now, I don't know how this is going to go exactly. I'm hoping that it goes smoothly. But of course, Ross did not bring a hammer like he originally said that he was going to. Why? Because he's not too smart. Friends, he's not too smart. Let's get that. Look at that. Would you just look at it? Also, a fun fact, I have not been feeling well, and I have basically slept for like 24 hours. Yesterday at noon, oh good grief, there's a tick right away crawling on it. Anyway, what I was saying is, I did not, after lunch I didn't feel good, so I laid down a little bit. Oh my gosh. And anywho's, I took a nap. Well, when I took a nap, I woke up and it was like 7 o'clock at night. So obviously something's not right, not feeling good or whatever. So I went to bed. I got up this morning at like 8:30 and all was going well. And then the next thing I know, I sat down on the couch a second to talk on the phone, and I took another nap. Now, I am realizing that this is probably not the project to do, because I have just pulled 3 ticks off of myself in just a very short order. And now the phone is ringing. So, makes a guy not want to do this, you know? I guess the guy just needs to pay attention after a while what he's doing. And yeah, that's crazy that 3 of them in just a few seconds. But whatever. It's also 3 less in the world because I killed them. Oh, bother. Oh, boys. Sometimes nature is a problem. Nature is a problem. Come on. We might have to revisit this. Good grief. There's another one. That one wasn't on me, that one was on the grass. I don't know. Must have stumbled into a nest of them. Jeez. They are. This is crazy. There's man. All right then. Give that a little bit more. Give that a little bit more. Oh, I grabbed the wrong socket. Maybe that's a sign to just not do this today. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, they don't like that either. There's another. Interesting. So you see, partially what I was after was I wanted a little bit sticking up above the frame. I didn't want it to just be absolutely the minimum, like, you know, something like that. I don't want that. I want enough room that happiness abound. Now, the question is, well, see, this one wasn't even all the way through. So that is not a, you know, that one probably would have been okay, but while we got new ones, we're going to use a few new ones. That actually is much long. Tighten. And I just realized I probably shouldn't have tightened those two because I don't have, well, no, that's gonna go. I gotta get the others here tight too as well. But basically I need to get that over there and flippity flop it with a longer one that I bought, because this one should be able to go through all of this with no problem. Actually, it might be too long. We'll find out shortly. They didn't have half sizes, they only had whole sizes, so we couldn't get. Maybe I'll leave this other back one in. I think I will. You're gonna have to move, aren't you? Sad but true, but true. All right, it's coming along, friends. It's coming along. Possibly the most difficult I don't know that we'll be able to flippity swap those out of there, because I've probably got everything so tight. I don't know. I'd really like to at least replace that one. I shouldn't have tightened everything till I got the bolts in. Come on. Oh my God, they're coming out of the woodwork there. All of those ticks. You're going to want to take your nice new bolt that you had planned on using, and you're going to use that to totally destroy. No, let's see here. I cannot believe how many of these little freaking things are living in this disc. All right, friends, this is back together. It was a struggle bus, I'm here to tell you. And so what happened was, in addition to the continuous parade of ticks that I had for a while, they kind of calmed down after I killed about a dozen of them. But what was happening, it got worse before it got better. I thought that I was going to have this just dandy, and I went to swap out one of those bolts in there, and then I had that all out of whack, and I couldn't get the bolts lined up, and I had some tight and some weren't, and so I went back and loosened everything up and ended up getting these in. I got to tighten that one because it takes a wrench, not an impact. Then I was down to these two, didn't have them in, so I used one of these tank pin things that a viewer sent me, and that helped, and I finally got one bolt lined in there, and whatever, I ended up to be short on the longer of the two bolts that I bought. I should have bought about 4 or 5 more of those, but I had enough stuff to get by, and it's in there and it's tight, and it's going to stay that way. I'm not taking it loose again. Part of my issue, I think, is that some of this bracing has been redone by people over time, and it's not quite perfectly lined up, you know. And then I'm sure part of it is because since I switched to a different beam, I'm sure that all that other stuff was sprung a little bit, and all of that was kind of matched to each other, and then I make one that's perfectly straight again, and then we have struggle buses. But it's in there, it's tight, it could be moved. All I got to do now is get some hoses to fold the wings back up, and then we'll be able to move it out of here and see what we got. But we don't have time to celebrate long, friends, because we need to really work on the one that we're going to use, because yeah, we need to be working on the one that we can use. So we're going to take this show on the road, hopefully just the impact and a wrench, and I can get the rest of that stuff loose, and then we can go from there. So let's move our operation over there, and like I said, hopefully we'll be good to go. I just can't believe how much I had to struggle on something that I had all the bolts in to start with. But then trying to make it better, I made it worse. So, and then also, I think before we're done with this operation, I'm going to try to re-swivel that. I think they had the cylinder the other way, and I don't like that. I'd rather it push up this way, I think. Something about this is slightly different than my green one, and I'm not sure what that is. I think the piece up there is a lot longer. I don't think the other one sticks up quite that high, but whatever. It's gonna work, friends. It's gonna work. We do need to remember when we get new stuff, we should probably get new tips, because I don't like those tips. And maybe we need to just also get new ends of hose. Like these are in two sections, which I'm on board with, because on these big things, if you accidentally if it accidentally comes unhooked and you pull it loose, that's a lot of money to spend to, you know, have to replace the whole thing. So if we could just replace the very end of it, we might end up doing that. I'll measure before we go, so we don't regret what we do. But it is finally solid together with good bolts, and most all of them are exactly what I wanted, the height wise. That one came out a little bit too long, but that's okay. Longer is better than shorter. And that front one needs tightened, but it'll be good to go. But I like that better than this. That's what was in there. I never took those loose, so we're not going to mess with that. But ideally, I would like it to have a little bit sticking up through, so that it buys you a little time to catch it if it comes loose. You know, when it's like this, by the time you catch it, the bolt's gone. But if it's longer and it starts coming loose, you might see it in time. So I don't know. Let's go take another one apart. All right, how do we want to tackle this? Well, in the most difficult way possible, I would say. You know, if we didn't do it the most difficult way possible, would we really be doing it the right way? Of course, that's not going to be right, is it? Let's take these loose. In typical Ross fashion, they're two different sizes, so I need to go get the 15/16 so I can take these loose, because I think that's what we're going to do here. Yeah. How much struggle will we have taking this loose? Because I don't think I took it loose last time. All right. It's heavy too, I'm sure, so. Makes a guy wonder if he should get new ones of these so they don't accidentally break. I don't think they will. I don't know. Ooh. It's hard to believe that something that heavy could break, but the vibration, I'm sure, is part of it, because machines vibrate, and I'm sure being at an angle didn't help it this last time, but I really didn't have much choice. I gotta have it. It's got to line up with the part that it hits. So like the next time we fold it up after we fix it, we can't just hold her full bore and walk away. We got to be careful and make sure that it really is going to hit, so that we don't have a bad problem, because it's a bad problem. Like I said, if it falls over center, it's not happy. Now we got to carry all this crap out of here. So yeah, and I'm betting that that's going to be tomorrow's problem, because I think I'm about sacked out for today working on this. Everything's heavy and it's hot out here and muggy, So I'm thinking we'll pack up, and tomorrow we'll get those welded and then bolt her back up, and it'll be ready to fold up and move to the next place. And then once we do that, there's so much stuff we could fix, like this leak, but we're not gonna do that right now. Then we need to be working on like that field cultivator. It's got issues we could work on. So yeah. All right, went to the store, got some supplies. So this is for the 271. Is that the number on it? I think so. That red disc that we were working on. So we're jumping back to that because I'd like to move it out of its hole that it's been sitting in for whatever. Maybe we can resurrect it and have it ready to go as well. So I got me some hoses. I got me some couplers. I've got some tips. We're going to replace all the tips on it. And I thought we would get this ready to go whilst we're out here, and then just go out there and, you know what I'm saying? Is this the thing to do? I don't know. I don't know. Pipe wrench from a viewer, or not pipe wrench, but adjustable wrench. Sure. Thought that I could cut through the tape with that, but I guess not. That's fine. What do we got left here? There we go. Get out of there. A quick measurement told me that probably about 108 was what we wanted. That was the closest measurement that seemed like it was going to go for us. So that's what we went with. And luckily they had all of that stuff on hand. Sadly, they did not have on hand the appropriate length 1/4 inch hoses that I wanted to get for that planter, because I'd like to get it fixed too so that it's ready to go instead of sitting for a whole year and then I forget about it. But that's okay. Is this gonna work? Sure would make sense to do this in a vise, wouldn't it? Or something more appropriate than right in front of the camera with two adjustable wrenches. Sure. Nope, that's how we roll, friends. See what we get here. I even splurged for the hydraulic union instead of just the galvanized pipe union, because people cry when I do that, even though from the factory a lot of this stuff has galvanized pipe. So cry all you want, friends. That's how she is. Looks pretty anyway, doesn't it? Would it happen to be the same sizes? No. The union is slightly larger. Now we'll do the same thing to this one, and then hopefully our life will be complete, you know? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. How does the pickup bed get full of crap? Well, this is a pretty good example of how that happens. Work on the pickup, throw the trash in the bed. And then like magic, your whole pickup bed's full of garbage. We use the mobile vise. Mobile vise. Patent pending. I hope they reorder stuff because I cleaned them out of some of this. And I've been bragging them to everyone in town about how good a selection they have on hand. So I hope they keep it up now. I hope they don't. I hope that wasn't a one-time thing them having inventory and then never replacing it, because that's frustrating. Come on, brother. All right, let's take this show on the road. Maybe. We don't need to take the boxes with us. We don't need boxes where these are going. Buddy the dog, he's snoozing over there in the dark. I have no idea what the weather's going to do. It was supposed to pour down rain 2 different days now, and both times it's split and went around us. So in one regard, that's dandy, because I could, in theory, be out there doing something if I didn't have a lot of stuff to fix. And then on the other hand, it sure would be nice for some of that stuff that's in the ground to get some water, because it's pretty dry. It is coming up though. I noticed the corn is coming up and the beans are starting. So there is that. All right. Now, we're going to try not to get covered with ticks today. In theory, we should be able to do this fairly easily, maybe. Possibly. This is thread tape from a viewer. So thanks, viewer. You know just what I like. That's great. We're going to also hope that we didn't tear up those threads bad whenever we fed the beam over top of them, you see. Because that would be sad. Gotta think about how this goes. Also, it's nice when I put my arm right in the way so you can't see anything, isn't it? Don't you like that? Actually, I hope that we don't have any problem here. We shouldn't, turning it tight. We shouldn't have any problem. But you never know. If the pipe went bad inside of the frame, then that's a whole nother struggle bus we'll have to start over and do. This is very wore out for some reason. Yeah, see, that's what I didn't want to do, because that could disturb something. So let's quit whilst we're ahead. If we have to do something later, we will know when we hook up the machine. Okay. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Okay, well, I guess we're going to call that one there. I'm not exactly sure how they come up through. I think they have a T. I think there is a T back there that goes straight down. So we don't want to go crazy. But we've got our two. These would be the wing fold. And I think that's adequate length. Hang those up there. Now we need to redo these a little bit. Preferably having them facing out. It would be good to unconfunculate these first, because what might be is we might have to switch them. They're pretty close in length. What I would like to do here, I don't know what buddy the dog has run across. Hopefully not a ravenous animal that will murder me. I'm gonna just turn this loose. Yeah, if I would bring the correct tools, it would work a lot better. There's something out here. I don't know what, but there's something. I want to try to bring that around, but it's not going to let me do that. Until I totally undo everything that we did yesterday. Come on, you. Okay. Yeah, we're struggling. It would be a lot easier if a guy had done this before he put the cylinder on the machine. But he didn't know that this is what he was going to do. So, see, he's going to go through here like this. Oh, I wanted to do it without having to take the hose loose. I don't know. Let's take this totally out. Out. All right. I'm thinking this is going to be more better, but time will tell, friends. Time will tell. Probably would help if we actually, like, made this wrench the right side. All right. Next, we need to finish what we started. We need to put the different tips on these, just to say that we did. Also feed this one through all of this stuff. Okay, we have 4 matching tips on hydraulic hoses. So in theory, this thing should work again. We should be able to hook it up and pull it. And then we'll discover what other failures it has. But we had to get that far, so yeah. Now we'll go back and work on that green disc and try to get those pieces welded. All right, friends, this didn't magically fix itself overnight, unfortunately. We'll revisit this in a second, but I will show you over here. I have the 1755 hooked to this just to move it around, but all of our hydraulic functions are working. So we should be good to go. We had one blowout where this fitting wasn't tight and it shot oil everywhere, but I think I got that under control. So that part of it, our job is done. we still do have to tighten one bolt. Don't forget that, because I will. The next affair though, before this could be field ready, is going to be, there's a lot of sadness on it as far as when you get to looking close, how they cobbled her together. That front gang over there is not quite right. I think it needs a half spool, and they just cobbled some stuff to make space. One of these has a bearing out, this one. So that is a complete disassembly because it's all the way on the inside. So that's unfortunate because that means we got to take her loose. Also, that one's not factory correct. It's got different stuff on it instead of the square. So we got to look and see what would have to be done. I don't know. We don't have time for it now, so it's going to just sit here to the side, and we'll have to get it ready for next time. Or if the other one self-destructs really bad, we may have to get it ready now. This one also has had welding of sadness done on these tubes, and I see that they don't line up either, so I don't get what the deal is there, friends. Why are these things not lining up like they should? To my notion, this should be like in the center. The tube, it should hit centered. I don't know why they don't. So, I don't know. I've been thinking about it. Maybe it's the kind of thing where a guy needs to drill 2 more holes and back it up a little bit. You know, I even thought about welding like a set of 45-degree ears or something to help it guide it in. You know, I don't know. That's a project for another day, but not really, because that's the same thing we're working on over here. I've had nothing but taking the long way around on this. I made an adapter plug for my welder to use with this generator and realized that that's not going to work. It's not right. And so I didn't want to cut the plug off my welder, so I just went and got Dad's welder that he already has the adapter that fits this generator, because that's how he runs it. So, sure. My plan is we're going to grind that, clean up all the old weld, and probably weld it together, grind it smooth on the bottom side, lay this plate under it, weld it to this, cut out a piece out of here, weld it underneath there, so that there is something else tying it together other than just imagination and the old the welding that we do today, you know, because it's obviously not working doing that thing that it's doing. So yeah, I don't know. I should probably cobble it up real quick and go back to the field, not worry about it, but at this point I'd like to get it where I don't have to keep doing this again, because it's frustrating. So I suppose our first order of business is grinding. I don't know how we're going to get this in a pleasing way, but we're going to try. I really don't want to melt you either. I'll put you farther away. Okay, we got this back together. It ain't perfect, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do to make it perfect, because that side's great. Hits right in the center. This side not so much. So I've already got it tilted. I thought about drilling holes and moving it back, but that's gonna make that one worse. So I guess what I should have done is not welded it back the way that it was. I should have left it gapped, like tapered, so that those were both the way they should be. The problem is you don't really know that until you got it folded up. And so yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do there. I think it'll be fine as long as I watch it. I don't think there's any way I can bend just one without affecting the other side, so I don't know. But it's good enough to use, and that's what we have to do. We have to keep going because it's getting late, friends, and we got to get beans planted. So that's what we're gonna do. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.